Hello.
How are you doing? We're live.
I'm doing great. It's so good to connect with you again.
I know it's been a long time. We met through networking, so I'm really thankful that we've kept in touch. You're in Phoenix, I'm here in Yuma, but we still made this happen.
Yes, I know. It's just flown by. There's just always so much going on.
I know. So, as the followers know, this is the One Felt Self podcast. And what we do, this is where wellness meets purpose. And we inspire, people to grow intentionally and elevate their brand, life, and business. So, obviously, you're here today, Cassie, to talk about Spectrum Wellness and all the wonderful things.
Casie.
Casey, yes, Casey, you're here to talk about the wonderful things your business does. And I want to know a little bit about your professional background. What built yourself to build this now business?
Yeah. I mean, my business origin story is something that has been developed from a lifelong of my own health issues. And when my business first started, I never got into it thinking I want to help people heal and I want to be in business and all these things. I kind of just fell into the health. I started more in the health and fitness industry.
Mhm.
Um, I had a childhood and a whole slew of health problems that kind of jumped from one thing to the next. And throughout that process, became a Division I basketball player with a full ride scholarship. After that, turned professional IFBB women's physique bodybuilder. Was on the pro circuit for a few years, but throughout that whole time, I kind of struggled with hormone balance and gut health and a lot of neurological problems, Tourette's as a kid, anxiety, ADHD, OCD, sleep problems, extreme burnout, a lot of these things that a lot of other people suffer from. And when I was in the fitness industry after college, I kind of just started training clients because I was into the nutrition and the working out stuff and just working with them at the same time I was on my health journey and realizing so many people are going to the gym and working out and doing the nutrition piece, but
Yes.
why is this person getting way better results than this person when they're both living a healthy lifestyle, they're both working out, they're both being consistent? And
Yes.
so I was always looking deeper into people's bodies and trying to figure out why. And that's really the longer I went with the health and fitness stuff, it wasn't the training clients in person that I really loved and enjoyed. It was like figuring things out that other people couldn't figure out and like being the one that helped them overcome some of those plateaus or those physical issues that they couldn't overcome. And I really developed a passion for the internal side of things. And, I was always focused on the aesthetics in the early beginning. And then as I educated myself more and went through more of my own processes, I just realized how interconnected everything really was in the body and how so many of those things were rooted in similar dysfunctions. It's just, what I had cared about at that time. And now really I focus on just overall health, metabolic, cellular health, cellular function of the body because it's rooted in everything.
It is.
So I just, over time I got out of the fitness side as much, not that it's not important, but it was really the help that people needed on the deeper side and helping them to overcome some of these things that they could not get figured out.
Mhm. I love that. I love that. And because you are it is what's on the inside. You could work out all day long, but if you're not eating the right things, you're not getting the right sleep, you're not drinking enough water, your vitamins are imbalanced. It's a whole thing. It's a whole thing. And,
Yes.
there are things that can be cured just by what you eat. And even talking to a specialist like yourself who could look at the blood reports and say, okay, this is where you're lacking. This is what you can implement. And it's about asking the right questions because sometimes you try to do it all alone. You try these fad diets, and I've been there. And it's like, no, you got to ask for the help to really want to succeed in your wellness. It's a whole spectrum. Like that's why you're spectrum wellness. You look at it from outside in and inside out. So my question to you is, what inspired you to now start Spectrum Wellness? I know you had said your own health issues yourself, but what personal or professional experiences led you to now integrative coaching and as your path, as your main path, like your integrative health coaching?
Yeah. Eh, Honestly, it was my own journey that led me to be able to connect the dots and understand things on such a different level that I felt led to be doing it for other people, because I went to naturopaths, even doctors. I could not get answers, and I would have paid anyone any amount of money to help me at that point, but I couldn't get the help. I paid thousands of dollars in blood work to doctors to just tell me that everything was normal and everything was fine. I went to the naturopath, prescribed me 50 different supplements to load my system, and it, to me at the time, I didn't know any better, but I was searching for answers, trying literally everything. And it was like the people that continued to be attracted to me and my energy and whatever were the same people who also couldn't find those answers. So I was not only driven for myself, but the desire to be able to help other people. And I'm one of those people who's like, I want to know more. And if you tell me something about the blood work, well, I want to know why. So how does this happen? And that's really what we talk about, is getting to the deepest levels. And people will root cause. You may not ever know the root cause of something, but when you get into genetics and some of these other things that I've gotten into at this point, you do get to kind of figure out, why has this happened and how do we prevent it from relapsing or happening further, and talking about like long-term health, not just like, how do I feel good for a month or two, get where I want to be and stay there.
Exactly. And I think in the bottom line of everything is like, you are the one that, you know, finds that root cause, because root cause is the healing, which is central to your spectrum philosophy. And
Yeah.
like, in your opinion, how the questions here, how do you define root cause? And can you walk us through like a typical process of how you identify or address this new client that you're trying to find their root?
Yeah. Well, like I said, root cause can be tough. If I'm talking to somebody who doesn't know anything about my business, which may be some of your followers, or health, or wellness, I'm going to describe it to them in the easiest way possible. If we look at your lifestyle, we look at your environment, we look at how you were raised, we look at the choices that you've made, we look at the patterns that your body has created or not over time, because the body is smart and it will compensate. If you aren't getting in something, or let's say you have a bad thyroid or whatever, the adrenals will take over to kind of compensate for that energy system. And so your body is a series of trying to help you out of survival, and everyone will do this in micro ways. So whether it's a nutrient thing, whether it's a gland that's suppressed to the body, whether it's a receptor problem, whether it's lifestyle choices that you've made throughout your entire life that have dug you into this hole and these metabolic problems, we can look at your whole life pattern, which I do with people in an onboarding session. We want to know health history, we want to know lifestyle patterns. Have you ever been in shape before? What is your family like? All those things.
Yeah.
We take a snapshot of where you're at now. So where is your body right now? Like, what are we missing? What patterns have been created? Where are these gaps? But then on the next level, if we look at a genetic testing, which I do now, we can see, has this pattern been created because your body can't do it or is incapable of it?
Right.
So it's very common for people not to be able to send something down the proper pathway, to have a receptor problem where they can't properly utilize something, or for someone to be able to take some sort of nutrient and convert it into another nutrient that the body also needs. And
Correct.
so there are so many of these little nuances and methylation problems and whatever, and it comes down to the cellular level. Mitochondria, it's what gives us energy. Adrenal ATP production is what fuels our entire body, our brain. If we are missing a lot of these things, we're not producing energy, and then those cells can't carry out their function. So we're talking about glandular dysfunction, we're talking about energy systems, brain function, brain energy, brain fog, like all of these
It's all
problems, even hormones. So it's like, I used to just do hormonal blood work way back when I started, and I thought that was like the end all be all of everything. But what's in the blood versus what's in the metabolites versus what's in the tissues, it all creates an entirely different picture depending on what tests you're doing. And so the idea is, if I don't look at your genetic capability and what your body may or may not be able to do, we don't know why that pattern's been created, which means we don't know how hard we have to replete. We don't know if you're going to even be able to utilize this properly, if I'm going to start just giving you
Mhm.
something, or if the something I'm giving you is causing even more
Yep.
problem. And so I don't want everyone to think they have to do a genetic test, but what I tell people is I can get someone there 10 times faster, or even something they would never otherwise be able to ever figure out by
Totally.
doing that. And it just eliminates years of energy and emotion and money and all the things, because you're bypassing all of that. So it's
Exactly.
like I've sort of eliminated stuff that doesn't matter, that a lot of people are doing and spending all this emotion and time and energy on, and
Mhm.
like bypassing that to get there the quickest way. And
Absolutely.
it depends on the person. So when you're doing kind of like a deep dive with them, I may say, oh yeah, well we definitely should do this
Correct.
and this. And I always have like a core couple of things that I will like always look at
Mhm.
with somebody.
Everybody's its own case and scenario. So, like, if you're helping somebody lose weight and they did it in maybe 2 or 3 months, but then this other person's like, well, I'm reaching this point. I haven't reached where this person, you can't compare nobody's journey. And that's something
Right.
we want, because, how hard are they working in the gym? Are they, sticking to their diet? Like, everyone's metabolism is different. So that's something that, me as even myself, I'm like, no two thyroids are different. No two bodies are different. No two minds are different, because it's also mindset. Because if you tell yourself you're not going to lose weight, well, chances are it's going to not
Yeah.
lose, because you're not going to be as motivated. So
Right.
my next question is, many people struggle to trust wellness and alternative health approaches. So, what are some common misconceptions about the integrative health industry, and how do you help people now understand that without skepticism?
Yeah. Like I said in the beginning with talking about like how my business originated, was like I too went to health coaches and nutritionists. I worked with even like coaches in the bodybuilding world who were all like, you're not responding normal. This isn't normal. What you're doing isn't normal. And I'm like, well, there's a reason, right? So like how do we there's always a reason. There's always a deeper thing that someone's not looking at.
Correct.
And my biggest thing, and this is why I'm doing a lot of these classes now, is you have to be educated to a certain extent in this stuff. You will make bad decisions with the people, and it's in business, it's in everything, right? Like if you aren't educated on what it is that you're getting into or what you're committing to or
No,
whatever it
thank you.
is, like it's going to be hard to know what you're signing up for. And you don't, like, we all learn the hard way in a lot of different things. And so I think sometimes, unfortunately, it takes maybe going through a few bad experiences or putting yourself through certain processes to learn. But we don't all get to have the perfect path everywhere. Like we've all had business downfalls and mistakes and all these things. And so it's like health isn't any different. And because different people have different approaches and different understandings and different mindsets, it's like a lot of naturopaths or doctors or whatever believe that they're doing everything the right way, and they can be very very convincing of that, so that's why I say, like, if you start to educate yourself and really understand, then you can make a better
Absolutely,
choice.
100%.
And what I preach now, because my new program is called Biological Mastery, and it's about mastering your own biology, because it isn't a one size fits all. Your biology is very individual, and so if you go out there and try to do everything that everyone else is doing, that's where the frustration is going to come in. And most people have the supplement graveyard in their cabinet filled with 5 million supplements because they bought something that didn't work. They took it for 2 weeks, threw it out. And it's like people will go through and spend thousands on supplements and different diets and all these things. Meanwhile, like their energy and their cellular function is suffering. And it's, if we look at metabolism, it's, are you producing enough insulin? Is the hardware down now at this point? Like you really have to you have to fix several things at once. And if you go to somebody who's just addressing one thing,
One
they're
thing.
likely missing the ball. And so it's, and people don't want to come in and throw in all this stuff because they're overwhelmed. But I'm like, unless you're addressing multiple systems at the same time, like you're really just trading
One
time.
piece
And
of it.
you're just like maybe feeling a little better by taking this. And that's how people go to naturopaths. It's like they kind of go in and they're like, oh, well, if you start taking this, like it'll help with this. And if you take this, it'll help with this. And it's like, no, we gotta we gotta look at the full picture here, you know?
Yeah, I have to move myself because I'm outdoors and the battery looks like it's gonna be going. But anyways,
Uh-oh.
tell us a breakthrough success story, a client whose transformation surprised even you, and what did the journey look like from start to finish? So,
Yeah. I mean, I've had
let me.
countless transformations, but
Yeah, I'm still
hello?
here. I'm just
There she
moving
is.
my
Oh, okay.
partner.
Um,
Yeah.
I've
So
had countless transformations, but some of them that I think are a little more fun, that maybe I want to say fun. But for me, it's fun when you figure stuff out about people's body.
yes.
One was a client who had gone through breast cancer, and she had um, a lumpectomy, and then a year later to the date it came back, and she decided she was going to get a double mastectomy, went through the cancer journey, came out the other side. She had to miss work for about 6 months as a business owner. She had
Mhm.
gained about 35 pounds. She, was just depressed. She lost her hair, all of that. So she came to me and I ran a lot of these testings, a lot of her genetic stuff. And they told her, it was a hormone receptor positive breast cancer. Um, and when we ran a lot of her tests, we did see that there was several markers for methylation problems, and different things that her body was not flushing hormones the right way. And not only that, but she had some genetic abnormalities with the dopamine receptors and her ability to utilize and send it down the right pathways. So it created actually extremely elevated prolactin levels, which was feeding the estrogen. And I'm saying a bunch of words that maybe are hard to understand. Long story short, we were able to immediately drop those levels down, give her the right support. She dropped 35 pounds super
Wow.
fast. We found out that there was a genetic component to the reason that she got that.
Mhm.
And she had actually been like sort of surviving off of adrenaline and cortisol this whole time, like to see even her whole life. And she now is like, I didn't realize that I didn't actually have energy. I was just like, you can be super driven and motivated, which I find a lot of business owners are, but they're running on fumes kind of, and then they crash and then they're, you know what I mean? It's not like real energy. So there's a rate with cancer that can come back if you're not addressing some of the root stuff, and to be able to find that out at a deeper level, like what was driving it and how we can heal those systems so that she doesn't have a reoccurrence of
Exactly.
any disease or any issues in the future. And in 1 week, or no, I think it was 2 weeks, she dropped 15 pounds, and in 2 months she was down 30. And so it was like two little things, and it was like boom, and
Wow, that's
her hair
amazing.
grew back a ton. There was just so many little nutritional things that her body couldn't convert and use and detox, that like the second we gave her that stuff, it was such a quick upregulation of everything that her body had been missing. And I had actually had to send her in for an MRI because her prolactin was so high I thought she might have a tumor. Um, and we were able to see
Oh
that through some
no.
of this testing. So yeah, it was pretty
Wow,
wild.
that's great.
Yeah,
That's
I
great
mean,
that you were able to help her through that process. So
yeah.
my next question is coming up here. In your opinion, what lifestyle habits, nutrition, mindset, environment make the biggest difference when someone wants a holistic wellness approach?
Yeah.
If you want me to repeat that, you can. Um, so, what would you say is the biggest factor, lifestyle changes?
Um, I think it's hard because I think there's not one area that's gonna outweigh the other. But I do think from a mindset perspective, when the body is unwell, 20% of our body's energy production is used in the brain. And then people additionally have issues with receptors and neurotransmitters, sending those neurotransmitters down the right way. And so I feel for people who have mental health problems, because it's like a double whammy with their body energy production, but then even their ability to stay motivated and to have like rational thought and to feel like stay with a program and do those things. And so on the mental side, there is a point where if someone isn't making energy and isn't in a great place, that the mental piece becomes that much harder. And what I find is that people will
Correct.
just go through these cycles where they're trying to be so disciplined and stick with a plan, and then their body just doesn't have what it needs, and then they fail, and then they just think that they're a failure, right? And it's like, in reality, their system just not getting what it needs. And so I tell people, you can have all the mental discipline that you want, you can have the lifestyle, but again, if you have this pattern and you're literally not getting the energy and your system is dysfunctional on the inside, it doesn't matter how much willpower you have or whatever, like that still needs to be addressed. And so it's, again, so different for every person and what's going to make, the biggest dent in them. And it actually angers me when there's people out there that are just like, you just need to eat better and you need to go to the gym. And it's like, I think people know that. I think people know that they need to probably like meditate a little more or whatever. But again, like if you get yourself into a big enough hole and you've created a deep enough pattern, you're stuck in this pattern. And so you not only have to replete and fill in the gaps of what's missing in that pattern, but then you have to figure out, how do we get all these things to work together? And the mental piece is so much easier when your body feels good. But the challenge is when you get somebody in a plan where they're getting what they need, there is going to be a period where you've got to be disciplined and work through the hard stuff no matter what. But that's why doing it fast is helpful, because, if you're trudging through the mud and you're barely feeling it, and it's like you're expending so much energy with trying to, like, you know what I mean?
Exactly. 100%. Yep. So I think you already alluded to the next question. You covered some of it, about your environment and how that plays a big part on your wellness, because environment is key, and as you're healing, sometimes you feel stuck. For example, they've tried the dieting, they've tried, talking to different people. So now, how do you help someone now get unstuck when they say, oh, I've tried this, I've tried that, but they're not seeing results?
Yeah.
What does integrative coaching do differently to help them not be stuck?
Yeah. And what I tell a lot of people that come to me is that a lot of people hop from one thing to the next. They'll do a diet and then they'll try this and then they'll try that. And they have a pattern that they're trying to get out of, but they're always missing some big pieces. Right. And so that's why they go, oh, I'll feel a little bit better, but then then it only helps for a little while. And then I go back over here. Or the people who over diet or overtrain, thinking they need to be working harder. And in reality, they're stressing their body even more because they're so imbalanced and they're not already making energy, that they suddenly have even less to pick from on a cellular level. And so it is frustrating. I do get why people quit and why people don't know where else to go. And as I said earlier, what I teach in my classes is helping people understand how energy is made and what you're actually feeling in your body. So if I can get people out of and it's not, to be honest, it's not anyone's fault. Like, I said this in my class the other day, who were you taught health from? Like, we weren't.
Because that's your example.
We learned either from our parents and how we were raised. We learned from whoever we hung around with or what we read online. No one ever taught us, like, we all took biology, whatever. No one sat and explained to us how some of this stuff works. We're just like, it's like not having a driving instructor and having to take a test and you're watching videos online of how to take it, but like worse, And so it's sad because people never learned this stuff, yet we only have one body and we're all expected to know how and why and, all of those things. So I think just learning how your system works is helpful.
Exactly. That's why, stress, your environment, your lifestyle choices, they all play a role in your mental and emotional and physical health, because, you can work out 2 hours of the but you're over here eating a cake afterwards and wondering, why am I not losing weight? It's like, no, what about, where's your protein? Where's, your sleep? Because that's a big one for people.
Yeah.
They're not losing weight because they're not getting enough nutrients sometimes. And, there's always an answer to everything that you're going through. And it's like, it's not going to work if you're not even staying hydrated. Like, yeah,
Right.
you have to make a mindset shift. This is my
Yes.
lifestyle change.
Yes.
You know?
And people, if I think when you understand why you're doing certain things and what it's doing, it helps you to stick with it more, because it depends on what your goal is. If you're like, hey, my only goal is to lose weight, I don't care about anything else, and you start like eating healthier and you don't lose anything, then those are the people that sit and give themselves excuses to say, well, this isn't working, I might as well eat whatever I want. And it's like, that's not how health works, right? You choose to be healthy regardless of the outcome, because it's what you should do and what your body wants. Now, if you have a weight loss problem or a metabolic issue, that's a whole entirely different thing, but it doesn't mean that you shouldn't be eating healthy. Or like, if you get more sleep and you still don't feel better, it doesn't mean that you shouldn't go to sleep or shouldn't still get a certain amount of sleep every night. And the worse people feel, I do find in the environment part is like, the more toxic their environment is. It's like the people they hang out with, the people they choose to, you know, do life with and be around. It's like they're
Absolutely.
keeping themselves in those environments that are holding them back. So it is like one of those things when people start healing, is it's like they're not hanging out with the same people because those are not healthy people. And the more they heal internally, the more it carries over into like the spiritual side and the mental side. And they're like, wow, I don't actually feel good when I'm around you. And it's like, it's actually bringing me down a lot. I didn't realize, so I think there's like such a shift that happens. And what's tough on my part is like working so much on the internal. We can talk about it, when we're doing these things and whatever. But I mean, it truly is just like a choice that people have to make, in the other areas of their lives. And the self-awareness piece is huge,
Yeah. So that alludes into this question, like about, they're juggling so many things, but it's like, how much do they want it, Because, you can have multiple priorities, but if your priority is your health and wellness, like, where does that come in your schedule of your day? Because you can block out time. You can say, hey, I'm not taking appointments for this hour, or get up earlier, or stay, or maybe right after work, take your gym stuff with you.
Yep.
Or prioritize your time to meal prep or something. Or, and if you don't want to cook, find somebody who is in this business that you can say, hey, can you show me a meal plan? So there's always ways you can go around it, even if you are a busy professional.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, that's the thing with like the programs that I do now, is it's like, how do we do it in the fastest, but not just the fastest, but the most efficient way, right? Like, I don't believe that people should be spending hours in the gym. I think you can make a very healthy lifestyle and go to the gym and whatever, but we've always been taught that a lifestyle, like living the lifestyle, means going to the gym every single day, getting in 10,000 steps a day and being perfect with everything. And it's like, we only continued to do that as we felt like our body wasn't responding how it should. And then we get into this like overly consumed place where if you actually like heal the hardware and heal like working with your body instead of against it, then you truly don't have to be like, hey, I'm going to the gym 7 days a week and I have to fit in an hour workout and eat chicken and broccoli 8 times a day. It's like, no, there are easier ways to do it, but it's like, the more you practice something, the easier it gets. And I was kind of in the same boat earlier today when I was like, oh my God, I have all this stuff to do. And I get off this call and I go on a 2-hour call. And when am I going to get my workout in? But I didn't work out yesterday. So it's like this mind game. It's like life will always be this series of like mental decisions. And if I missed my workout yesterday because I was busy, then I'm not going to allow myself to do it today, but maybe I'll go in and do something for a shorter workout and do a little bit of work while I'm doing the cardio to get something in. It's like, don't and then people will like sit and think about it for too long. It's like, you just got to go, like, make the decision fast, just do it and stop thinking about it, just go.
Absolutely. So 100%. So what is your vision for the future of wellness and integrative health? How do you think the industry or the role in it will change in the next 5 to 10 years?
Yeah, I think what's hard is this social media part is cool and it sucks at the same time because there's so many people to listen to, and so people are confused what area to go, and that's why I say educating yourself will always be your best bet, and you continue to gather information and learn so that you can make a better choice for yourself. But there's, you know, at this point, I call myself like integrative health or integrative medicine because what we do is we take the best of both worlds. We're looking at the holistic side, but we're also looking at Western medicine and science and true biology and chemistry of the system, right? So
Yes.
there are so many modern medical things out there that we have access to at this point. And like, I would love for to start working with parents who want to get genetic testing done for their kids from a young age to like bypass like putting, you know what I mean, knowing what the kids need to do and just little things that would like make a huge difference for them. Obviously, that's like a future goal of mine. But another thing is like there's like peptides are amazing. There's so many like sending signals to the body to do things that your DNA maybe not wouldn't be able to do otherwise, and rewiring your hardware of your system and getting it somewhere faster. Like there are so many things that are available to help people. It will
Mhm.
always just be like being with the right people, right? Like,
Your influence, circle of influence, because if they're eating well, they're taking care of themselves, and then you automatically feel like, hey, you know what, I also want to do the same for myself. Your
yeah,
environment is so key to, and your time managing and all that, because health and wellness, you have to want it every single day, not just,
yeah,
oh, I'm gonna be good for a week and then I'm gonna go off the bandwagon. Like,
yeah,
it's a whole spectrum that goes into it. So I'm glad that you're there helping people through it. And
yeah.
so, yeah, my last question for today is, what inspires you daily?
Um, honestly, like I'm in. This sounds so cheesy. I'm. I don't want to say I'm motivated by my past, but I will like never take my health for granted. As like how bad I was, like in my 20s and the worst of my healing when I felt so lost. I just remember being like, if I could just, I couldn't imagine sitting and having a glass of wine or ever being in shape again or feeling like I had control over what my system was doing, and I didn't want to have to kill myself to get there. It was so hard to imagine that. And
Yeah.
for me, with somebody who was like too disciplined and needed to learn to like let go a little bit and not be so like OCD about everything, my goal in my life now is to live in a place where I have balance all the time because my system's in a good place where I don't worry about not getting a workout or eating perfect or going out and having a drink with friends or doing all those things. It's like life is not about perfection. I'm motivated by how healthy and optimized can I be while not having while trying hard, like less hard kind of a
Yeah.
thing. You know what I mean? Like, how
And
can I keep being in shape and looking and be youthful and know I'm healthy and prevent disease and help my family and help friends and other people to like learn how to do the same for their systems? Like, I truly just get motivated about the things I learn every day and the people I'm helping, and like the
that's
own
great.
things that like I'm always trying new things on myself, and how do I continue to just feel better and be better. And like it is motivating when you're in that space.
1,000%. one thousand
Yeah.
percent. Definitely. So guys, as you know, she's super inspiring. And if you want to see the replay, you could go to follow oneself consulting, or follow her business, Spectrum Wellness. Thank you so much for being on. It's been a pleasure. And
Yeah,
I look
thank you for
forward
having
to
me.
learning from you and to continue to follow you on your website, or create an appointment with her. Let her show you how you can also get well. And like I like to tell my audience, take one step today that your future self will thank you for. Thank you so much. Is there anything else
Yes,
you want to
thank
say
you.
before I leave?
No, I'm having another master class next Tuesday. I don't know if that is that the 16th. Which I'll have like I have a link tree link in my bio. It's got like all my social media stuff. It's got my website, all my social media handles. So if you want to come to the free class, come learn, come understand, you'll walk away like with a whole other understanding of your health. So yeah, I invite you to come see that. And that would just be like my main invite.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure, and I look forward to seeing you soon.
Yes, thank
And
you.
have a good evening, everybody. Bye bye.
Thanks. Bye.